Alright guys, in this video I'm going to be breaking down the 3-4 odd defensive end B gap. Now this is a phenomenal defense. This is something that was my base last year and is going to be my base again this year. So you can really do this out of any play in the entire formation. The plays that I like to use are cover 2, cover 4, and then the Sam Mike 1. So those are pretty much my three that I really like to use. Once again, they're cover 3, cover 4, and Sam Mike 1. So we're going to come out and cover 4 first. And the setup is going to be very simple. You're going to base a line, pinch, crash the defensive line down, shift the linebackers to the left, and re-blitz the guy that is on the right and QB contain. Now with this setup, I do like to have this outside guy blitzing because a lot of the times people are going to start line shifting down when they see this. You do not have to have him blitzing. If you want that additional guy, you could make this a 4-man blitz. But I do recommend it if you are in a situation where you absolutely have to have the pressure. So another thing to note with this defense is you must crash down the defensive line and make sure they are crashed. Sometimes you need to do this more than one time in the game. If you don't crash them after they are set, a lot of the times they will not actually go on their crash. So just something to note, you will want to make sure you absolutely have these guys crashed because a lot of the times they just tend not to do it even though you told them to. So we'll go ahead. The other important part is you want to play on this middle linebacker, and you want to stand in between this A gap over here. So in between the guard and the center, and I'd say, 3 to 5, 7 yards, somewhere back. I'd say about 5 to 7 yards back, just like we did last year. And then we want to hold left trigger, pass commit, and you're good to go. You see the DN comes screaming right up the B gap. Now this is going to work versus shotgun or single back. He will come free versus single back. The only downside to this blitz is when you are just standing either the 4 or the 5-man blitz, people will be able to line shift down and pick this up. A lot of the times they will not pick it up with just the line shift down. They will have to block a running back. However, it is something to note. If your opponent starts line shifting down a lot, then we'll get into the 6-man blitz here in just a few moments to absolutely kill that. But once again, the setup is going to be base the line, shift linebackers to the left, pinch crash defensive line down, re-blitz the outside linebacker that is on the right of screen, and QB contain. After that, you can put this guy into a coverage if you want. It is entirely up to you. I do like to leave him blitzing. And then you want to stand on this middle linebacker about 5 to 7 yards off of the line of scrimmage. Hold left trigger, pass commit, and you see the pressure comes screaming up that B gap. So there are a few different adjustments that you can make when running this. So you can base the line, shift left, crash defensive line down, as you just saw right there. You can re-blitz the outside guy on the right, re-blitz this slot guy, not slot, but this middle linebacker that is pretty much right on the outside hip of the offensive tackle, and then zone out this guy, this linebacker over here. This is going to give you a very similar concept, and it's pretty much the exact same thing to what I did last year, except you can now put this defensive end into a spy. So once again, you're going to be blitzing this guy. This defensive end absolutely has to be crashed down, and then this linebacker or this linebacker would need to blitz to make it the most consistent. Stand in the A, hold left trigger, see the DN pressure will still come in free. Now that right there is pretty much the exact same setup that we posted in Madden 15. But the easiest way to do this is to just blitz the outside linebacker that is on the left, blitz the outside linebacker that is on the right, pinch crash defensive line down, QB contain, and you're set up. Now you can adjust the coverage how you see fit, and you will steadily get this B-gap pressure that is an absolute screamer. So going into the additional thing, as the game's acting a fool right now. So say you don't want this guy blitzing, so you just want a standard 4-man rush. You don't care if the pressure comes in. You'd like it to, obviously, but it's not a must. You could do something like this. You could just simply zone out this linebacker that is on the left, and you're good to go. Just make sure you're standing in this A-gap, left trigger, and you should still see that he tends to shoot the gap, and more times than not it will come free. However, it does tend to get picked up from time to time. So we're going to go ahead, we'll run it again. Stand in the gap, left trigger. And that was what I was talking about earlier when I said you must crash down. For whatever reason, it did not register. So we're going to try it again. It is crashed down. 4-man rush. And there's that B-gap pressure. So that pretty much just showed everything that I wanted to emphasize with this defense. You have to make sure that that defensive line crashes down. The only real way to guarantee it crashes down is to let them set first and then crash. If you try to do it all at one time, if one of them is up wandering around, it does tend to get messed up. So just make sure you pay attention to that, make sure you note that, and you'll be good to go. So once again, the setup from the start is going to be to base a line, shift linebackers to the left, pinch crash the defensive line down, and QB contain. After you do that, you could blitz either of these two guys right here, just to make it that much more consistent, although you do not have to. Just this middle linebacker or this outside linebacker. Then as long as you stand in this A-gap, you will be fine. So that is pretty much it. You see that they line shifted down right there, and the looping contain came in free. So that is it for the 3-4 odd defensive and B-gap. We are on to the next setup.